I still think about you, Joe. Alwyn texted Taylor Swift, shocking her. However, Joe could never have predicted this unexpected contact in Travis Kelce's mature answer. October 20th, 2025, at 3:45 p.m. while working on songs for her upcoming album in her Nashville home studio, Taylor Swift's phone buzzed with a text from a number she hadn't seen in more than a year. She gasped when she saw Joe Alwyn's name on her screen. Taylor's heart raced with a mix of interest and fear as she gazed at the notification for a long time before opening it. Early in 2023, she and Joe broke up after 6 years of dating. Additionally, they had not kept in touch after their amicable breakup. She had completely moved on, developed a new life, gotten engaged, and fallen in love with Travis. However, she still felt as though a ghost from her past had suddenly appeared when she saw Joe's name. Although brief, the message had a lot of ramifications. "You are still on my mind." Taylor put down her instrument and reread the note, attempting to comprehend the range of feelings it aroused. Complicated feelings about the past, about growth, about the person she was while she was with Joe, rather than love feelings, which had long since vanished. Once more, her phone buzzed. Another message from Joe. "Although I'm glad you're now with Travis, I've been thinking about our relationship lately. I hope all is okay with you." Taylor's stomach turned upset. This message wasn't merely a casual thought of you. Joe seems to be expressing unresolved emotions or regrets regarding their relationship through this. Additionally, the timing seemed very odd. Only 2 months had passed since her highly publicized engagement to Travis. She got up and paced her studio, attempting to come up with a plan of action. Her initial reaction was to completely disregard the communications. She owed Joe nothing, and talking to him could only lead to more communication. However, her second reaction was to reply succinctly and firmly, indicating that this type of communication was inappropriate. Talking to Travis about it straight away was her third inclination, and it felt the most natural. Taylor had promised to be more open about everything that might have an impact on their relationship, even if it felt awkward or uncomfortable. Following their recent argument and the communication-related talks that followed, Taylor knew Travis would return home in an hour even though he was at practice. Instead of messaging him about it, she chose to wait and show him the messages in person. This seemed like the kind of discussion they ought to have in person. After a productive practice session, Travis appeared exhausted but content as he entered the front door at 5:30 p.m. Taylor kissed him in the doorway, but he could see right away that she was a little tight. Travis put down his exercise bag and examined her face, asking, "Everything okay?" "I need to show you something," Taylor said, taking out her phone. "You seem a little off. Today, I received a few unexpected texts." Travis's face became more somber but unconcerned. Both of them had learned from their recent altercation to approach possible problems with curiosity rather than dread. As Taylor opened the texts, Travis questioned, "From who?" "Joe," Taylor asked simply, passing the phone to him. Travis raised an eyebrow as he read both notes. Clearly taking in what he had just read, he returned the phone to Taylor without saying anything. At last, Travis said, "How are you feeling about this?" Taylor was taken aback by how his reaction differed from what she would have anticipated. There was only sincere concern for her feelings and a wish to comprehend the circumstances, no envy, rage, or possessiveness. "Mostly confused," Taylor remarked candidly. "I have no idea what he wants or why he is contacting me right now. It seems strange and a little out of place." "It does seem out of place," Travis concurred. "You have an engagement to another person. It's inappropriate to contact an ex while they're in a committed relationship to let them know you still think about them." With comfort in her voice, Taylor added, "I'm glad you see it that way. I had no idea how you would respond to his message." "What did you anticipate my response?" "I don't know. Angry, insecure, and jealous." Pulling her in close, Travis met her gaze. "Your ex-boyfriend messaging you doesn't pose a threat to me, Taylor. I'm confident in what we have together. Joe is free to think about you as often as he likes. You are deserving of consideration. But now that you're with me, I have total faith in you." Taylor felt her heart melt at his words and his calm confidence. Really. Furthermore, his communications only serve to highlight how fortunate I am that you picked me over your relationship with him. Are you not concerned that hearing from him could make me feel confused or nostalgic? Do you feel puzzled or nostalgic? Travis inquired. "No," Taylor replied right away. "Not at all. I'm thankful for what I have now after hearing from him. It made me realize how much happier I am with you than I was with him. Then there is nothing to be concerned about." "Taylor, you've shown me in 100 different ways that you're completely committed to us," Travis replied simply. "That won't change with a single text from an ex. How should I respond to his communications, in your opinion?" Travis considered this seriously. "What would you like to do? To ensure that this doesn't happen again, I want to give him a clear and firm response once before blocking his number." "That sounds ideal. Would you rather compose the answer on your own or together?" Without hesitation, Taylor responded, "Together. To ensure total openness, I want you to be involved in this." Taylor opened her phone to write a reply as they sat on the couch together. They finally decided on Joe after a few of revisions and drafts. "I'm content and dedicated to my partnership with Travis. Please don't get in touch with me again and respect that. Travis said, short and clear, with approval. There is no space for misunderstanding. After sending the message, Taylor blocked Joe's cell phone right away. There, she murmured. Done. How do you feel? Travis inquired, feeling relieved and appreciative that I have a partner who manages these circumstances with such assurance and maturity. Travis noted that you also handled it flawlessly. You shut it down definitely and informed me right away that you were very transparent. Travis brought up the matter once more when they were eating supper that night. Could I tell you a little bit about today? He replied, of course. When you showed me those messages from Joe, my first feeling wasn't jealousy or anger. It was pride. Pride that you trusted me enough to show them to me immediately. Pride that you didn't even consider handling it secretly or protecting me from it. Pride that you wanted us to deal with it together as partners. Taylor smiled. We've gotten pretty good at this partnership thing. We have. And Taylor, I want you to know that you never have to worry about telling me about stuff like this. I will always choose trust and communication over jealousy and possessiveness, even if it's something more complicated than a few text messages. Especially then, Taylor. I'm secure enough in our relationship to handle whatever comes up. I'm not going anywhere. And I know you're not either. Later that night, as they were getting ready for bed, Taylor brought up something that had been on her mind. Can I ask you something? Anything, she answered, brushing her teeth. How are you so sure about this? Travis asked, washing his face. About us. Most people would at least feel a little threatened by their partner's ex reaching out. Travis dried his face and turned to look at her. You really want to know? I really want to know because I see how you are with me versus how you were with him. I've seen the old photos, the interviews from when you were together. You look contained, like you are holding back parts of yourself. Taylor paused, her teeth brushing, interested in his perspective. With me, you're completely yourself. Travis continued. You're louder, sillier, more relaxed. You laugh more. You talk more freely. You take up more space. You're not trying to fit into some idea of who you should be. Taylor rinsed and turned to face him fully. I never thought about it that way. When someone is truly happy, they don't go backward. They don't choose less when they've found more. And Taylor, what we have is definitely more than what you had before. How can you be so sure? Because you tell me so in 1,000 little ways every day. Because you light up when you talk about our future together. Because you've never once seemed restless or like you're settling. You're not with me because I'm convenient or safe or familiar. You're with me because I make you happy in a way you'd never experienced before. Taylor felt tears forming at his words. You do make me happy in a way I'd never experienced before. And that's why Joe's texts don't threaten me. He's part of your past, but I'm your future. He represents who you used to be, but I get to be with who you've become. I love you so much, Taylor said, moving closer to him. I love you too. And Taylor, I want you to understand something. Your past relationships don't diminish what we have. They helped make you who you are, which is the person I fell in love with. So, I'm actually grateful to Joe in a weird way. Grateful that he loved you the best he could at that time in your life, and grateful that it taught you what you needed to know to recognize the real thing when you found it. 2 days later, Taylor was having coffee with her friend Selena when the subject of Joe's messages came up. I can't believe he texted you, Selena said, shaking her head. What was he thinking? I don't know, Taylor replied, but honestly, the whole experience ended up being really positive for Travis and me. How so? It showed me how much Travis trusts me and how secure he is in our relationship. Most guys would have freaked out or gotten jealous or demanded to know all the details about my relationship with Joe. Travis just handled it like a mature adult. That's actually really impressive. Selena agreed. How did he react when you showed him the messages? He asked how I was feeling about it. He said he wasn't threatened because he's confident in what we have. He helped me write my response. He was just perfect about it. And how did that make you feel? Like I'm with the right person, Taylor said without hesitation. Like I'm with someone who's secure enough in himself and in our relationship that he doesn't need to be possessive or controlling. That's relationship goals right there. It really is. I feel like Travis and I keep passing these little tests that prove we're building something solid and healthy together. What do you mean? I mean, we've dealt with social media drama, family stress, our first big fight, and now ex-boyfriend interference. And every time, instead of these challenges weakening us, they've made us stronger and more confident in our relationship. That's how you know you're with the right person, Selena said. When the hard stuff brings you closer together instead of pulling you apart. 3 weeks later, Taylor heard through mutual industry contacts that Joe had been asking about her and Travis, apparently surprised by how definitively she'd shut down his attempt at reconnection. He seemed shocked that you didn't engage with him at all. Their mutual friend told Taylor. I think he expected, I don't know, more of a conversation. He mentioned something about thinking you might want closure or to catch up. Taylor shared this information with Travis, who just laughed. He underestimated how happy you are. Travis said he probably thought you might be nostalgic or curious about what he had to say, which I wasn't at all. Which you weren't because you're with someone who loves you better than he ever did. How can you be so confident about that? Taylor asked, genuinely curious. Because if he had loved you the way you deserved to be loved, you never would have broken up. And because I can see how much happier and more yourself you are now than you were in pictures from when you were with him. Travis paused, then continued with a more serious expression. But also because I know what it feels like to love you completely. And I can tell from how you've described your past relationships that you've never experienced that before. What do you mean? I mean that loving you feels like the most natural thing in the world to me. I don't have to work at it, or convince myself, or make compromises about who you are. You're exactly the person I want to love. Exactly as you are. And I don't think Joe ever felt that way. How do you know? Because when you really love someone the way they deserve to be loved, you don't let them go. You don't grow apart. You grow together. What Joe had with you was love. But it wasn't the kind of love that lasts forever. What we have is Taylor felt tears form at his words. I love you so much. I love you, too. And Taylor, I want you to know that Joe texting you didn't threaten me at all. If anything, it reinforced for me how much you've grown since then. How much we've grown together. What do you mean? I mean, the Taylor who was with Joe might have agonized over those messages. Might have been confused or conflicted. But the Taylor who's with me knew immediately that they were inappropriate. And handled them with complete clarity about what she wanted. I did know immediately because you're happy. Because you're secure in our relationship. Because you found what you were looking for. A month later, Taylor and Travis were at an industry event in Los Angeles when she spotted Joe across the room. Her heart jumped slightly, not from lingering feelings, but from the awkwardness of potentially having to interact with him after his inappropriate texts. There's Joe, Taylor said quietly to Travis, nodding toward where Joe was standing with a group of actors. Do you want to leave? Travis asked immediately. We don't have to stay. No, I don't want to leave. I belong here as much as he does, but I also don't want to have to make small talk with him. Then we won't. Travis said simply. We'll stay on this side of the room, enjoy the party, and if he approaches us, we'll be polite but brief. Taylor felt a surge of gratitude for Travis's calm, practical approach. You're not worried about it being weird. Why would it be weird? You're here with me. You're happy with me. And he's just some guy you used to date. There's nothing weird about that from my perspective. They spent the next 2 hours enjoying the party, talking with friends and colleagues, and pointedly not seeking out or avoiding Joe at one point. Taylor noticed Joe watching them from across the room, and she felt a moment of satisfaction at how happy and comfortable she clearly looked with Travis. As they were leaving, Joe approached them near the exit. Taylor, he said, his voice carefully neutral. You look well. Thank you, Taylor replied politely. Joe, this is my fiancé, Travis Kelce. Travis, Joe Alwyn. The two men shook hands, and Taylor was impressed by how relaxed and confident Travis appeared. No posturing, no marking territory. Just a friendly handshake and a genuine smile. Congratulations on your engagement, Joe said, though his voice carried an undertone that suggested the words weren't entirely easy for him to say. Thank you, Travis replied easily. We're very happy. I can see that, Joe said, his eyes flickering between them. Taylor, I hope you got my messages. I understand your position, of course. I did, Taylor said simply. Take care, Joe. And with that, she and Travis walked away, leaving Joe standing there. How do you feel about that? Travis asked once they were in their car. Proud of us, Taylor said immediately. Proud that we handled it with class and dignity. Proud that you were so confident and secure. We're proud that I felt absolutely no confusion or confliction about where I belong. Where do you belong? With you always, with you. 6 months later, when Taylor and Travis were looking back on their first year together, the Joe situation came up as one of the moments they were most proud of how they'd handled as a couple. Remember when your ex texted you and we dealt with it like actual mature adults? Travis said, best relationship moment of 2025, Taylor agreed. Well, tied with when we learned how to fight constructively. Together we've become rather adept at managing peculiar circumstances. I feel like we could handle anything now. Bring it on, Travis said, pulling her close. As long as we keep communicating and trusting each other, we can handle whatever life throws at us. Even more random ex-boyfriend texts, especially more random ex-boyfriend texts. Though I hope for their sake future exes are smarter than Joe was. What do you mean? I mean, Joe learned the hard way that you don't mess with a woman who's found her person. And I hope anyone else who might think about interfering learns from his example. My person, huh? Your person, your partner, your future husband, the love of your life, who's secure enough not to be threatened by your past because he's so confident in your future. I love being with someone who sees other people's interest in me as confirmation of his good taste rather than a threat to our relationship. Your happiness is my security, Travis said simply. As long as you're happy with me, I have nothing to worry about from anyone else. A year later, Taylor was working on a new song when she found herself writing lyrics about the difference between past love and present love, inspired partly by Joe's unexpected contact and how it had made her appreciate Travis even more. You could call it missing. I call it moving on. You could call it longing. I call it knowing what I want. What we had was learning. What I have is home. Sometimes you need the past to show you how much you've grown. When she played the song for Travis that night, he smiled at the lyrics. Is that about Joe's messages? He asked. Partly, but really it's about us. about how sometimes external things help you realize how good your actual life is. I like that perspective. Joe reaching out was actually a gift in a weird way. How do you figure? Because it gave us a chance to prove to ourselves and each other that we handled challenges well together. It showed us that our communication and trust are solid. It reinforced that we're building something that can withstand outside interference. You're right. Taylor said it was a gift. A weird, uncomfortable gift, but a gift nonetheless. The best relationships are tested by outside forces, Travis said thoughtfully. It's easy to be happy together when nothing challenging happens. But when someone tries to create problems or drama and you handle it together with grace and confidence, that's when you know what you have is real. And what we have is definitely real. The realest thing in my life. Travis agreed. And thanks to Joe's poorly timed text messages, we have proof of just how real it is. Because sometimes the most beautiful thing about a relationship isn't that no one ever tries to interfere with it, but that when someone does, you and your partner handle it with such grace and confidence that it only makes your bond stronger. What do you think about this story of ex-boyfriend interference, relationship security, and the power of trust? Have you ever had to deal with an ex trying to reconnect when you were in a new relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Because sometimes the true test of a